I grew up in marketing where there wasn't even a data team. Like we were fighting with the product team to get technical engineering support when it came to like APIs and hooking up different things or getting like a script on this site. And today, flash forward just like a couple of years later, most companies, especially in tech, like have a data team. And now we're sitting on a Martech podcast and most of our audience is marketers. A lot of them are technical marketers where we're talking about things like pipelines and data warehousing. And I know that you're deep in the process of building a warehouse first tech stack at Prefect. And maybe you can give us an overview of some of the tools that are making this possible for you. And I'd be really curious to hear like the decisions along the way that you had to make. And maybe you can start off actually with like, what do you think is the role of the data warehouse in Martech? It's like a three-part question there.
I think the data warehouse has to be the center of information, and all information has to eventually get into the warehouse. And the reason for that is because there's so much data in so many different places that I think it would be close to impossible to actually get a full view without having that data warehouse at the center. And even if it were possible, it would be really hard from a, Martech standpoint to make sure that all of the data successfully flows from one place to the other and vice versa without the data warehouse kind of being that central hub. And so that's kind of my viewpoint. And really the tools that are involved I think it's a two-way street, right? So it's what are the tools collecting information on the outside, right? Whether it's Amplitude for product analytics, whether it's, right, we use Common Room for understanding the behavior in our community, for Prefect, right, those types of tools. And then how do we, right, getting that data into the warehouse and then merging it with other first-party data. So whether it's product usage or it's sales behavior or touch points, and then surfacing it back into sometimes those tools to be able to kind of create that flywheel of being able to learn and create segments in something like Common Room, or more simply, it's then forwarded to something like some sort of CRM where there's a one-stop shop for, right, I'm in B2B world right now, so one-stop shop for sales reps or a marketing team or a DevRel team or something like that to really understand, okay, what is the kind of full view of who this person is and what they've done. There's kind of a lot of pieces in that. There's two different approaches in how to get data from one place to the other. The first is just kind of dumping everything into a data warehouse and using something like DBT to transform it, to store it, right? We use Prefect for scheduling and putting all those pipelines in production, shameless plug, and then using, something like Census, for example, to write it out into your email marketing platform, into a CRM, et cetera. But there's also a second way, which is relying more on webhooks. So, for example, someone does something, it triggers a webhook into another system, and that's a little bit more, I hate this word because I think it's really loaded, but it's a little more real time, right? If you want to have not rely on a batch process that runs every few hours, but if you really want that, one thing happened, now someone gets notified, that's a little bit more of a straight shot to that world. So that's kind of the two different ways I think about it. I would say the most notable thing that I kind of left out was Google Analytics, because I don't think it really has a place in this type of world, but we can kind of get a little bit more deeper into that.